Is Antoinette, and I'm the CEO of Just Help Us Cleaning Agency, and I go live round about this time every Tuesday. Uh, First of all, I want to reassure all of our clients by saying that we are taking every precaution around the announcements from the government in the last 24 hours, and we'll be feeding that through to you over the next 24 hours. But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. We have made two amazing recruits in the last week. We've been looking for a general manager, and actually, because of the strength of our recruiting system, we ended up with a suite of amazing candidates and very, very difficult to choose between the final three. To be honest, the six that were there on interview day were brilliant, but it evolved that we needed so much more than what we'd even advertised for. So as a result of our recruitment system, we've ended up with not just a general manager, but actually a chief operations officer and a chief information officer. And I'll tell you all about them another time, because we'll probably do a shared live when they come on board. Their identities are still a little bit hush hush because we've got the final stages of telling their current employees and things what they're up to. But we're really excited to have them, and you'll start to hear more about them from October. But what I want to discuss is the process that we went through to find these two individuals. Oh, I'm so sorry. Switching off my Alexa. That was my Alexa reminding me to make a plan for tomorrow. So what I want to go through is the process that we went through to find these two individuals. I read quite a lot, and I've been preparing for this for a couple of months. We've recruited before, so the system that I use gets refined more and more each time. And this time, the process took about 6.5 weeks from advert to appointment. And we've blended together loads of things. I've actually created an automated matrix that adds people up and puts them in order through the different stages that we have. And in total now, we have 5 stages to our recruitment system, which I would love to be able to share with you. And it starts, each time it's sifting people out, it starts by vetting CVs. Obviously, that's what all of us do. But there's a grading criteria according to the skills matrix that we need. And most people have that. We then have a telephone sifting stage where we have a designated telephone line. And this is an Action Coach resource actually that works really well. A designated telephone line where we have a prescribed set of questions that we want people to leave a message for. And a set time frame as well, and we grade them on that, and people get sifted from there. Then there's a face-to-face interview, and that's we've done that by Zoom. It's supposed to be a fairly informal meet initially, just to gauge culture, and culture was a really, really big thing for us this time through. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago about Jim Collins, one of the first books that I read, which centres around getting the right people on the bus. So the more I recruit, the more I understand that the right culture fit is incredibly important, that skills and knowledge can be added and learnt with the right motivated person. So culture has been a big thing that has been a stream all the way through. At every stage, we'll have a culture assessment or set of questions trying to examine and dig deeper into somebody's culture to see if they are going to be that fit with us. So the telephone answering stage, and again we sit from there. The Zoom meeting, which in non-COVID times might be done over a coffee or on a walk or on a golf course or whatever works for you. It's getting someone in their relaxed, natural environment and just trying to understand a little bit more about who they are and what makes them tick. From there, we then had a formal day of interviews. And again, in non-COVID times, we might have done this slightly differently, and this is something that I'll think about. But in the morning, every candidate presenting to every candidate, and a cross-selection of my team, from our helpers through to the office staff. A vulnerability exercise, which was a suggestion of my action coach, James Dodd, and actually was amazing. It's framed around one of the things in the 5 dysfunctions of a team by Patrick Lencioni, and it's about functional teams that do well are prepared to be vulnerable with each other. So we did an exercise that just asked people in a room full of relative strangers. I mean, we'd gotten to know each other a little bit by then. We'd shared a coffee. How vulnerable are you prepared to be? Before that, actually, the brilliant Jon Asquith, a colleague that I've gotten to know through an acquaintance that I've gotten to know through my coach, has created a culture fit assessment. And so that was emailed out to them along with a basic profiling test as well. So by now we've gathered loads of information about these candidates by the time we meet them face to face. In the morning there were ostensibly team building games, but just activities for us to observe how did they interact with each other, with members of our team, which then led to a cut at lunchtime and our final three. And our final three went through a grueling process of trying to find patterns of behaviour through their entire work history. And that's, we've got that from Who by ghSMART and Randy Street. So these two books are books that I go back to over and over again. So we've got Who by ghSMART and Randy Street. I've read this now maybe 3 times, and I duck and dive into it, and it helps you through every single stage of recruitment. And the 5 dysfunctions of a team, I duck and dive into this and have done many times over the years as well, by Patrick Lencioni. But also I'm very fortunate to be being coached by a great individual who has access to a swathe of information as well. So yes, 2 brilliant people that have come on board. It was so hard because of all the sifting that we did, that we really found it difficult to make a choice between the 2 of them. So we're taking a punt, we're taking a leap of faith, and we're going with 2. And all I've got to say is watch this space. I am so excited for them to get started. If you would like to hear a bit more about what my process was, if you'd like to have a look at my scoring matrix, if you'd like to chat through any part of that process that I've described, I'd love to hear from you. Just drop me a PM. I'm refining it over the week, so any comments from anyone else would be really, really helpful. After all, you know, we build our business community together. So if I can share this resource, I'd love to. Have a great evening, everyone. Sorry, this has been a bit long.